Alright, so now that you've seen everything out of the box, I've got everything in this case, and I picked this case up off Amazon. It's not a hard cover case, but honestly, I think it's perfect. I'll leave a link in the description if you guys are interested in it. I am probably going to end up modifying this case with a razor blade so that after I put on these little bracer pieces that I can still slide it in. So I'll probably make a short video on doing that at some point. So anyway, I literally have done nothing with this drone. I have not charged anything. I haven't plugged anything in. This is 100% ground zero, and I'm going to show you the very first thing that you need to do to get everything up and running and get everything set up. So quite simply, you just need to get everything charged. So I picked up the Flymore kit that comes with 3 batteries. This right here is the charge box, if you will, or the power box, and the Flymore kit comes with a special adapter that you hook all 3 batteries to. So I'm just gonna go ahead and plug this in right here, and we're gonna get all 3 batteries going. Now if you'll notice, it's charging this one first, then it's gonna work its way to this one, then it's gonna work its way to this one. So we'll just let that sit. Now you'll notice there are 2 USB outs on this power brick, so let's go ahead and get the classic controller charging. Controller's charging. I want to go ahead and get this one charging as well. Alright, so now the drone itself obviously doesn't need to be plugged in or charged because you're charging that via the batteries. Alright, the next gadget that needs to be charged is the power pack for your goggles. Now in order to get this one going, at least at the same time as the rest of these, I had to grab another cord. So my own cord. We'll go ahead and plug this one in. So now that's charging. Alright, and you might be wondering what this cord is for. It basically plugs into the goggles and then into the power. So once this is actually charged, you'll plug this directly into the goggles with this connector. Okay, so not needed at this time, but will be needed when you're actually using the goggles. Alright, so basically at this point, we're just going to go ahead and let everything charge up, and then I will come back when that's done. And we'll get everything all set up, updated, firmware updates, everything like that, and we'll be ready to go. So, be back. Alright guys, so it has been a few hours, and you'll notice that the batteries are showing charged, green light. If I hit any one of these, it shows 4 bars. You'll notice that you're seeing 4 bars on the classic controller. It looks like this one's still potentially charging, but it's been charging plenty long. That may do the same thing as this one after a bit longer, but who knows. Either way, I'm gonna get rid of all these wires, clean up things a bit here. Go ahead and toss this into the drone. Simply slide it in, make sure it clicks, and then push this piece all the way in. Make sure it just inserts 100%. I'm gonna go ahead and just set that there for now. Alright, so the next thing that you want to do is you want to download the Dji Fpv app. So you want to jump over to the App Store. I'm actually going to use my iPad instead of my iPhone. I'm going to go ahead and download the Dji Fpv app. One of the things you want to do, if you've already got it installed on your phone or your device, go ahead and uninstall it and then reinstall it. That way you know you have the most latest version of it. Okay? I'm going to skip this. Now, I bought my Dji Fpv directly from DJI's website, I also picked up the care package at the same time. So I created an email address and a username. More than likely, you probably bought it the same way, but if you didn't, you can go ahead and register and do all that stuff now for the first time, where you'll be given the option to pick up the DJI care package and create a username and password, email, etc., etc. So go ahead and hit agree to the terms. Allow. Okay. All right, information authorization. Those are all checked. Let's leave it as is, hit next. DJI product improvement. I'm gonna pass on that. You can do that if you want. All right, log in or register. So this is where I'm gonna log in. Hit next. Password. Log in. Next. All right, so right here we've got a connection guide. If you already have the DJI aircraft, follow our instructions to explore a whole new world. I'm gonna hit OK. So now after logging in, I see a button in the bottom right corner that says connection guide. Okay, so before I actually hit the connection guide and go through that process, I'm gonna go ahead and prep a few things. So the first thing you wanna do is you wanna take off the protective gimbal, pinch from the bottom and the top. Okay, set that aside. There's another little cover here that you gotta peel off. Now you do wanna make sure that before you power on the drone, and this is all the time, that you always take the gimbal cover off. Just make sure that before you turn it on, always pull it off. Before you put it away, or as soon as you're done flying it, you pop it back on, even if you're out in the field in a dusty area. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab the micro SD card and we're gonna put that into the actual drone itself. So I'll put a link in the description for a couple of micro SD cards that I recommend. Now you'll notice, so I picked up two. One is gonna be for the drone and one's gonna be for the goggles. And these are the two that I picked up. So you'll notice that they're both A2, which is good quality for high-speed filming, and they're both 128 gigabytes. I mean, you can get you can go up to 256 if you want, or you can even get a 64. I kind of went in the mid-range and went 128, 128. Why did I choose to go with an Extreme Pro? I think I just happened to buy them at 2 different times, so I think both are going to be just fine. But you know what? Since this one's Pro, I'm going to go ahead and stick this one into the drone, and I'll put this one into the goggles. Use the tip of your fingernail and pop it in. You have to kind of insert it far enough so that it actually stays. There we go. Okay, so that's been inserted. I might as well just go ahead now and stick the micro SD card into the goggles. Now keep in mind, the goggles do film and keep track of things for you. It's a little bit lower quality image, but it's more of a backup for you in case you actually wreck the drone. You can look at footage to see maybe where it landed by going in and checking the film. So yeah, you're gonna wanna stick one of these in there as a backup. So I'll go ahead and do that now. Here we go. All right, so now let's go ahead and turn on the drone first. Simply press the button once and then press it again and hold it, and that's how you turn it on. Now it's the same method for pretty much everything. Press once and then press again and hold. So all right, so now that's on. Okay, so next you're gonna wanna turn on the controller. So I have both controllers, and so now just out of the box, just so you know, all these things come bound together if you bought the kit, okay? Now, if you end up buying this little accessory for a different variant for flying, you will need to pair it. So you're gonna toggle between pairing this one and pairing this one, whichever one you wanna use, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and turn it on and get all the activation stuff done and get all the firmware updates done just using this one. And then when we're done, I'll go ahead and show you how to pair to this one, okay? So turn this one on, you're gonna basically press it once and then hold. And then hold. Okay? Now these are both on. Next thing you're gonna do is you're gonna take the special cord that came with the combo, and basically it's USB to USB-C. We're gonna plug this into the headset. Now next we're gonna plug in the goggles to power, right? We know we charged our power brick. That's where this cord comes in. This comes with it. We're gonna go ahead and stick this USB-C into the power brick. Then we're gonna plug this in to the goggles. Okay, power this on. We're gonna hit once and then hold. All right, so now that we have power to the goggles, we're going to take and plug this into our device for updating. So I've got the app here, ready to go. It's basically USB to Lightning. We're gonna plug this into the goggles, and then we're going to plug it into either our phone or, again, in my case, the iPad. So as soon as I plugged it in, it basically brought up the agreement again. I'm gonna hit agree. It says here, restarting device. You notice that all objects. So it jumped over to this screen where it says first flight tutorial. I'm gonna hit skip. All right, update. All right, now it's working, downloading firmware. And notice I actually had to press on the update button a couple of times because, believe it or not, I don't know why, but it failed. So I just kept hitting try again. And right now it's at 41%. So I'm gonna let this complete 100% and I'll be back. It's at 90% right now. And for me, 10 minutes for all this to happen. Now, I noticed that the controller lights, while it's not connected to anything, the actual controller itself updated as well. Before I actually try to use this controller, I'm gonna plug it, I'm gonna turn everything on, turn on the app, and then have this one off and this one on, and I might see a new update for this one. I'm at 91%, and it's been kind of stuck at 91% for about a minute. First time I've seen those lights pop on. We're at 96%. Since this is now showing solid lights and I'm no longer seeing movement here, that the update process has now shifted over to the goggles. Still 4% left to go in the update, but it's been stuck on 96% for about 3 minutes now. So I think it's focusing on the goggles. All right, so I am back. It now says DJI firmware has been installed. So close the app and then reopen it just because to see if the update detects new updates, right? So I am noticing after closing the app and reopening it that it says update again, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and hit update here. This is actually a unique update. Now it says it's updating FlySafe data. All right, I'm back. Now it says here, FlySafe data updated successfully. So again, I'm gonna close the app and then I'm going to reopen it. DJI Care Refresh is available for purchase within the first 48 hours. So I'm gonna click view, and then for me, since I know I paid for it already, I'm hoping it's recognizing that in my profile. So here it says bind activation code. I'm gonna click on that. All right, so it says here activation code, and then it says to enter it and then slide, but I don't have an activation code. So I'm gonna hit cancel. All right, so even though I'm getting that little warning up here that says you have 48 hours, I know I already purchased it. I checked my activation number. I mean, I went online, I have it, it exists. So I'm just gonna move on. Now, if I hit go fly, okay, so at this point, I've got everything set up. I should be good to go. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and turn off this controller here. You hit it once and then hold it down. That's how you turn it off. Now I'm gonna turn this one on by pressing it once and then holding it down. So if you wanna bind a different controller, hold down the power button until it starts flashing. Okay, then you're gonna hold down the power button here for 5 seconds. And now this is bound. Okay, so now that I've done that, look, I notice you have a new agreement here. I'm gonna hit agree, skip. DJI is unable to take off firmware update. So I'm gonna hit update. And now we're doing the firmware update for this controller. All right, so it looks like we are done. However, just to be sure, I'm gonna close the app, open it back up, see if it detects any firmware needed. So it's again asking, DJI Care Refresher is available for purchase within the first 48 hours after activating your DJI FPV. Here, so if I view this again, more, buy now, let's see what it says. So if I go down the path of like purchasing it again, there's a red pop-up that says you purchased DJI Care for this aircraft before, or you have a pending order or DJI Care. Please go to My Orders to check. Now if I go to My Orders, you logged in, let's see. So now if I go to My Orders, you can see that DJI Care 1-year plan. So if I cancel this and skip this, anyway, confirm, go fly. So I feel like we're ready to fly at this point. There's no firmware updates being asked for, so we should be good to go. And right now, this is the one that is paired. So now I'm gonna power this one off, power this one on. Now this one, to get bound, press and hold for 5 seconds. Okay, then I'm gonna press and hold for 5 seconds. Now these are activated together. One way to double check that, now I don't have the propellers in, but if you hold both of these down diagonally, it should turn on the propellers. Now to take off, you'd press up. It would fly off, but that's for another video. Now that we know that this is bound and working, to simply turn it off is to simply land it by holding down, and that turns the unit off. Now to turn the unit completely off, to put it away, you're gonna press the button quickly and then hold for 5 seconds. And same with the controller. And then same thing with the goggles. And everything's off, you can put it away. So guys, thank you so much for watching my video. This was the down and dirty on how to get everything set up from scratch, getting all the firmware updates and the process for doing that. It's also a little bit of a explanation on what could happen to you if you've already purchased the DJI Care and you start getting like told about activation codes. So long and short of it, guys, this is the DJI setup. I highly recommend one of these drones. Super excited if you want to pull the trigger and pick one up so you can use it for the fun of FPV flying, or if you want to use it for some just fun cinematography in your life. Check the description for a link to the DJI store. You know, if you purchase it through my affiliate link, it's always a nod to me. Doesn't cost you any extra, but you know, you do me a favor. Check the description. I'll also have product links. You know, if you want to pick up a set of your ND filters, which are good to have for just the filmography side of things. Watch a YouTube video on ND filters if you want to understand why they're useful for the drone, or if you want to get a quick link to picking up the SD cards. I'll have links to those in the description. As many of you know, unless you're new to my channel, I actually host a RC channel, so I'm really big into high-end RC. I know that thing's all tore down, but it's basically the equivalent of one of those, but the extreme bash version. If you want to get into a really fun hobby, RC is where it's at. So check out my channel. I'll give you the whole scoop on everything you need to know about how to get into the hobby, how to upgrade these beasts, and how to have a blast. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching my video. Stay tuned for more FPV drone footage, filming my RC car, and just having fun with FPV. If you have any questions, feel free to hit me up in the comment section. I'd be happy to help. East Tactics, out.